Marfoogle News going live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over in a short amount of time, so let's get into it. We're going to talk about 20,000 troops that are potentially going to be deployed right here in the United States. 20,000 troops for the homeland. There are a lot of really suspicious events going on right now. We're going to talk about that. And while all of this is going on, there's also a lot of panic stirring around this acid rain and this acid cloud that is spreading. Of course, it very well could be a huge distraction, but I would think that, something like this is not even going to get any kind of attention compared to what is going on in LA. Panic in Ohio is huge. Nitric acid spill grounds flights, sparks mass evacuations, and creates ominous dust cloud. A large chemical spill in Ohio has grounded all flights within 4,000 square miles and sparked mass evacuations. Thousands of gallons of nitric acid, a hazardous chemical compound that it will irritate eyes, throats, and lungs, leaked from a tank in the Austin Power Red Diamond plant in MacArthur on Wednesday morning. The company produces industrial explosives used for construction and mining purposes. It is unclear how the leak started, but the thick orange plumes of the smoke were billowing across the blue sky in the area. Now, there's videos going on around social media of people driving by this thing. They are recommending that if you are anywhere close to this thing, that you need to get anywhere but close to it. Again, I'll end up showing you some screenshots by the end of this show of this, but it is very, 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 very creepy. I'll show you a screenshot of that video later. This is one of the shots that the photographers took from a couple miles away. There is this giant orange cloud. Is this going to be made into another movie like the last spill? Or at least the predictive programming of it? I don't know. But one thing I do know is if you're in Ohio, which you guys know, I have family there and I absolutely love Ohio. I please pray that you guys stay away from this stuff because who knows what the heck is going on with this. We're going to talk about this and so much more on today's episode of Marfoogle TV. But again, most of it, we're going to go in depth about what is happening with Iran, with Israel, of course, with this huge evacuation. Both sides on this, and of course, embassies are telling Americans and non-essential staff to get the hell out. We'll talk about that. And then deployments here, as if something is about to happen. All of that and more on Marfoogle TV tonight. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. What is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Somebody says, do you have eyes on the Chinese aircraft carriers? Anyone tracking them like Monkeyworks does? Monkeyworks, that's his thing. That's his niche. That is literally his, his bag. So again, I was asking the same question today, like, what is going on with these? Well, one thing is you can only track ships that have beacons and that are, not turning off their transponders. So that's something to be said. If this was going to be something like a Pearl Harbor attack, I can guarantee you they would turn those off. As far as Pearl Harbor, the original attack on us, they were lucky to spot one of the aircraft strike groups out of the 67 ships that they brought close to do Pearl Harbor. Only a couple of them were actually spotted. And that was a guessing game, or at least that's what history reports. And again, history is wrote by the victor. With Pearl Harbor, though, there was a lot of things that set this up. And if you look at it, if you rewind to that time period, and if you look at exactly what happened between the countries, the moves they made, what they told their publics, it looks a whole lot like what has happened now, but with China. So we'll go over that, and we'll, of course, talk about that in this thing. But this Ohio, there's a no-fly zone. Let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, so they do the no-fly zone. The listed kind of reactions from this is, itchy eyes and things like this. How bad could this be? And now why planes can't fly over either? Is this going to hurt the planes? Is it going to go into the planes? Does it hurt the engines? Like what? Why is there a no-fly zone? Let me ask that.
Well,
I'm just an idiot.
Certainly just for the safety of the passengers and people in the air. It's an airborne issue. They don't want anybody traveling in there. They will allow the planes that are coming in for support, but no regular aviation should be going through there. They can all divert around it, so they should.
So one thing that it would also mean is smaller planes or privately owned planes would not be able to go by it, and somebody could, say, get a bird's eye view of what actually is happening. You would only have your CNN, NBC, or something like that probably get permission, or BBC probably, right? Or frick New York Times, but you would not have others. Just one thought I had. And then, of course, with this, if you are in Ohio, I have a family not only in Columbus, but in surrounding areas. I am hoping that whatever the heck it is, don't breathe that crap in. I don't think there's any positives to that. So, again, please be safe out in Ohio. Now, there's a lot more going on than just that. And I'm sure that that's going to get some airtime. People are going to be like, what the heck is going on with this?
And Adam,
go ahead.
Adam, real quick. Sorry, it's not just itchy eyes. The other thing was you can get drowsy,
burning lungs too.
Yeah, you can get drowsy and unconscious. So I think that's the other reason you don't want to pilot, especially in the lower aircrafts that may not be pressurized, running their own air systems. You breathe that in, you get knocked out, and then you crash.
Okay, you know how the medicines, they'll be like, oh, if you have back pain, take back Painazar. It just has a couple little side effects, like slight headaches, maybe carpal tunnel, and death. It's like, yeah, that's kind of a big one. Going unconscious. I guess that is a pretty big one. And then the president wants 20,000 troops to hunt, transport, and take these immigrants out. $3.6 billion to do this plan. And again, the Pentagon is reviewing a Department of Homeland Security request to deploy more than 2,000 additional National Guard troops to aid the Trump administration's widening crackdown on illegal immigration around the United States. Again, Homeland Security officials want the troops to help track fugitives, quell riots at detention centers, and search for unaccompanied children in remote and hostile terrain. Meanwhile, Pentagon and Customs Border Patrol officials have inspected military bases in recent months, from New Jersey to California, as potential sites to detain an unexpected influx of migrants. So if you've been around for, 6 to 10 years, then I'm sure there's some of you that have, alarm bells going off and going, okay, so you're saying that essentially around the country, they have areas they've already picked out to be prisons, right? What if those prisons could be used for something else? What if they could be used to house, I don't know, say an enemy invader or something? And they tell us this because this makes us feel a little bit better than, say, somebody invading our country. Again, I'm not saying that anybody is invading or that we're going to have a red dawn or that people are going to parachute in. But I will say this. I have shown you guys over the last few years that it may not actually look like that at all. The power might go out and you might actually have people already in place. If you look at the actual people that came in during those last 4 years, it was an absolute unexplainable event. It was something that nobody could have saw in the size and complexity it was. Folks coming directly from China. Every country in the world came. Those caravans were huge. But the 18 to 25-year-old military-age males, not only from China, but from Iran, from Russia, those are the ones I was a little bit more concerned about, especially since they could organize, they could have a plot in their minds of what they are going to do when they are given the right signal. Again, keeping 20 National Guardsmen on duty for 1 year would cost $3.6 billion, according to a U.S. official briefed on the potential deployment. However, it's unclear how many troops are available to fulfill that request. So, again, the moves would shift the military from its mission of defending the nation against foreign enemies towards policing its streets, according to opponents such as Senator Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Armed Services Committee. So it would be pretty crazy to see 20,000 National Guardsmen basically helping investigate, go find people, track them down, and get them the hell out. I mean, these were campaign promises of the president, but is there something that is bigger right under our noses? Look at the stuff that we put out yesterday, especially watch that show yesterday, because that really goes over a lot. I'm not going to beat a dead horse and talk about every event, and there's a lot. There's a lot of events, and just the archive for the marfooglenews.com on yesterday's show is an amazing, amazing source. Dex, go ahead.
Well, it says the move will, as you said, the move would shift military forces from the mission of defending the nation against foreign enemies. So what is a foreign enemy? Is that not someone that comes to our nation that is from a foreign country that is here to do harm? Is that not the definition of a foreign enemy? I mean, how do you define it? Do they have to have a uniform on and be coming in, off of a naval vessel or something? Well, I'm not,
also, would this also give credence?
It's their responsibility, right? I mean, it's their job. So for them to, I know a lot of this is written in a way to make it sound very much against the fact that he's already got 4,700 guardsmen and Marines in California. But I mean, ultimately, it's not surprising given the stakes and what they saw just in LA. And now they're seeing it ramp up in Chicago and Atlanta and other locations, all while, they're trying to do these deportations, that they're going to need 20,000 or more to support. I mean, it's not unfathomable to think about that when you look at what they've already done or tried to do and the resistance they're running into. And, I just go back to the straight up definition. If somebody's, foreign and they're here to do harm, isn't that a foreign enemy? I don't know. You tell me.
Here's the other thing that, the CIA spook that went on the Sean Ryan show, another CIA ex-spook, right? Or everybody says when they say ex-spook, they're like, well, when are they ever ex-spook? If the CIA needs those people, I'm sure that it's like until you've got a slab of a tombstone above you that you're really ex, right? But as far as the woman that came out, she said, hey, I believe that there are 1,000 coordinated sleeper cells in the United States, and in 2025, they're going to do this massive event. This is not me saying this. This is, again, a massively viral interview with this woman, and she essentially put out this information and says it's not only going to be the U.S., it's going to be simultaneously happening in in Europe. So this is something that, you have all of these National Guardsmen deployed to round up these folks that may have come in the last 4 years. The people that might have come in the last 4 years, were those sleeper cells part of that kind of event, right? Or is this a literal invasion that happened and nobody even really saw it coming because everybody was coming in How many of those people were just good, hardworking families that were trying to go for a new life? And how many of those were essentially sleeper cells that were looking to do us harm? If they're coming from certain countries, you can pretty much tell what their from birth opinions of America are. And it is pretty crazy that all of those countries during that 4 years, oddly enough, that the government was like, come on down, and here, if you can't get here, let's get you a flight in here. It's odd enough that they did a lot of things that also turned a blind eye to what China has been doing over the last 6 or 7 years, which looks like it is preparing for a massive war against the U.S., practicing in the desert, shooting exact replicas of our ships, practicing port-busting torpedoes in bays that are almost identical to, of course, our bays on the West Coast. Again, very identical tactic to what Japan did briefly with their fighters right before they did Pearl Harbor. They wanted to practice, so they made a bay that literally was almost identical. So, like, you're seeing history repeat itself, but you're also seeing lots of propaganda going out. But you're also seeing real events happening right at the same time. These are planned protests all around the country, and this has huge sponsors. When you go up to the partners, it's pretty unbelievable when you see all of the sponsors to this. Remember, this kind of a thing just started a few days ago, and now they all of a sudden are organized. They have all of this done. There were ads that went up in several cities supposedly that asked for, badass people. Military or ex-military may not apply. Like these kind of spooky things people are talking about right now. Something seems extremely off. And again, we have the president's ominous message. Before you go over this, Dex, I do want to say thank you, and thank you to Nathaniel Williams. Thank you for sending 5 badges to different Foogle family members in the chat. That is awesome. Thank you for using that to, of course, give gifts to the other chatters. That is one of the coolest part about gifting memberships. That's really, really sweet. So thank you, Nathaniel Williams. And then Tony Tucrow, welcome to the fam. I appreciate that. And then Larry Gatlin just hit 19 months as a member. Says, been a while since I caught a live show. Well, Larry Gatlin, I'm really, really glad you're here tonight because we're going to talk about all of this. I mean, again, where are these damn Chinese ships? Why aren't we hearing an update in the next 24 hours of this? Did they just stop after they passed Japan? And they're like, oh, just psych, we're just taking a cruise. These things have a limit of how far they can go without gas. I mean, without fuel. If we start seeing 30, 40, 50 ships, then yeah, I would highly suggest, having a plan to go to your bug out spot or to bug in. That's, of course, if we have, more verification that China is somehow heading here. Dex, do you want to talk about this ominous message?
Well, look, right now we're talking about troops deploying into California. We're talking about summoning up 20,000 more troops for protection here in the homeland. We've got the troops we put down at the border. We've got the ships we've moved down to the border, about 4 of them now, 4 destroyers down there. All of this is culminating into this big event coming up on the weekend, from protests to the Army birthday to Trump's birthday to the massive parade. And you've also got this message from Trump saying, I am more confident than ever that in the days ahead and every generation to come, the U.S. Army will heap glory upon glory. You will summon inexhaustible courage. You will protect every inch of U.S. soil, and you will defend America to the ends of the earth. The timing of this and the way it's written, and you talking about defending and protecting every inch of the U.S. soil, is definitely raising some eyebrows when we think about everything that's culminating right now and what's happening. And the fact that this is the message that's being put out front and center, pinned on his Truth Social.
Yeah, and the some of the responses too. This is being reposted over on X. This is reposted, of course, even on TikTok. People are talking about this. They're saying, this sounds a whole lot like a pre-war comment. You will summon inexhaustible courage. You will protect every inch of U.S. soil, and you will defend America to the ends of the earth, right? The sound, I mean, nowadays you don't get up in front of a crowd and do the inspirational speech. You just put it on Twitter. So I sure hope that that's not what's happening. I could say this every single day, but I, in my heart, believe that you are watching one step at a time, and now it is sped up like crazy. You eventually will see that China will in some way attack the U.S. This is my opinion. Attack either the grid, knock out communications, power, and satellites, GPS, all of that. That's what I believe that they will go for. And I believe that they will not be alone. That it will be all of their allies, all of our adversaries will all team up, spread our military thin. And the reason they will do that, and hopefully they still lose, is because if you spread the military thin, that is the only way, the only fathomable way that you could even come close to beating the United States military. What is happening? You have every major country essentially trying to take its neighbor, and it just so happens that we support one side of the neighbors, China and Russia support the other side of the neighbors, or are those neighbors. So it is getting alarming very, very fast, but we knew this was coming. As far as people saying fear, 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 we're not afraid of this. We've been seeing this for 10 years now. It's all culminating in what we are watching right now. Dex, go ahead.
Trump also had another quote today. He was talking about the celebration Saturday, and he goes, yeah, we'll be celebrating big on Saturday, and referring to the parade. And they were asking him about protesters. He goes, if there's any protesters that want to come out, they will be met with a very big force. I haven't heard about any protests, but this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with a very heavy force. That's his exact quotes today.
And if he means that on the 14th, when you have all of these nationwide events, I meis I keep saying, I'm surprised. Lopez Island is going to have one of these organized events. Just the littlest place on the map. Everywhere is supposedly, got money flowing into it to organize these things to happen. What do you think is going to happen if there's any kind of agitators, which even mainstream is going, yeah, this is kind of weird. Did you guys know that when a lot of protesters got there, that somebody was handing out brand new, still wrapped up in plastic shields? Like, what the hell is happening here? Imagine if one protester takes the life of one, National Guard or one Marine. Think about if one Marine takes one life of one protester. And it almost seems like it's inevitable to have some sort of disaster when you have events happening nationwide. If you play the lottery once, you have astronomical chances. But if you buy 1 million tickets, your chances go way up. And essentially around the country, when you look at this No Kings map, there's going to be a lot of chances for accidents. We see there's an accident when you have, Russian, gunships flying by our country, and you respond, the U.S. responds to it and flies close. That's one chance that this could spark an international, travesty, right? What do you think about this, where it looks like thousands of places are going to be a powder keg waiting to be lit? I hope people are paying attention, because this is something that keeps me up at night. This is something when you have a family that you take care of, this is something that it really should be paid attention to, especially now in 2025. If we hit New Year's Eve on 2026 and nothing has happened, I will have a huge sigh of relief and possibly even a glass of champagne. Because 2025 is lining up to be one of the craziest years we have ever lived. Now, before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. We truly believe if China or any other country is going to try to take on the U.S., or if they're even just going to try to cause chaos, maybe they're not going to invade. Maybe they just want to hurt us. Maybe they hate us. What I believe they will do, and like any military in this world, they will try to take out communications. They will try to take out power. Power, the electrical grid, is literally the base of all of the technology, all of our infrastructure, water, everything, the food chain, everything is tied into our grid. You knock that down somewhat permanently, and you put us back to the Stone Age, they say in the first year, 90% of us would perish. We wouldn't, and I believe most of us would be sitting pretty if this technology was put in every house by standard and every car was manufactured with this kind of technology, but they're not. The government is quietly preparing with exactly this kind of technology. In fact, EMP Shield is not only used by agencies like DHS and DOD, but they are helping the Texas grid protect themselves as well. So if you're in the United States, you are most likely in a place that has EMP Shield technology. This is a simple device to put in your vehicles. Again, red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, green to ground, and then bolt it into the side of your chassis, you're good. It will ground the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. Not only are you going to get $50 off from us, but you are also going to get a discount, especially if you get multiples from them. One of the biggest being if you get up to 4 EMP shields, you'll get $50 off from us. That's $200, and you will get $200 from them. That's $400 off when buying 4 shields. Again, it goes on. You can go look at the Liberty sale. It is open to the public now. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. You help support independent media at getting prepped at the same time. Rogue NGOs prepare for nationwide revolution. Walmart heiress calls for mobilization. What? Dex, what is she talking about?
Well, yeah. So look, the number of these NGOs or organizations that are on that list that is supporting the No Kings effort are known to be aligned with Marxist political ideologies. They've, according to this report, they've coordinated the protested activities across Los Angeles starting last Friday. And they've obviously, as we've been discussing over and over again now, about that list expanding across the nation, right? In addition to that, it's come out that the heiress, one of the heiresses to Walmart, has the woman has been a very big supporter of this. If you scroll down, though, you'll see a partial list of the groups, all the icons of these companies, these different organizations, whether it's, the American Humanist Organization or the ACLU or others. These are all the ones backing and funding this big movement that's happening on the weekend.
How did they even communicate? In a few days, all of these companies, what did they get a memo like, hey, did they have door-to-door salesmen? Hey, do you guys want to support a big protest on the 14th? This was planned long before. And what does that tell you? Dex, I mean, isn't that wild?
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have Christy Walton, who is one of the heiresses. She's the widow of one of the sons of Sam. She's, I guess, not active in the company, and we'll talk about that in a moment because the company had something to say about it too. But she came out and she is saying, encouraging everyone to participate and to join into these protests and to become part of this. So she took out a full page ad in the newspaper over it. And I don't remember which paper it was. New York Times. So a full page ad in the New York Times promoting the mobilization of this. So this is coming from the Walmart heiress.
Yeah, this whole thing seems a bit fishy if you ask me, but what do you guys think? Again, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about all of these companies in just a few days' time putting together, sponsoring, and helping pay and organize all of these things? I mean, when you see all of these shields getting handed out, is that part of what they're paying for? Like, did the door-to-door salesperson say, hey, would you like to donate at least $60? Every $60 you donate will be a riot shield in the hands of somebody patriotic. What the hell is this? Bernie is even supporting it. Look at that. We got Bernie. And we're not talking about, weekend at Bernie's. Well, I mean, there's been some pictures of him on benches with gloves that you kind of question, but We're talking about a lot of big units here. ACLU. Patriotic Millionaires. What a stupid name, by the way. Patriotic Millionaires. They wanted to just put millionaires in there. So when they, oh, I'm part of a group called Patriotic Millionaires. Oh, so you're a millionaire? Well, it's kind of, it's in the name, isn't it? What the hell is this? Free speech people? What are you talking about? Free speech people put their name on this? What? And by the way, if you look up, what are you talking about? None of these other ones like this free speech. They like any speech they don't like, they want to get rid of. This is just getting absolutely wild. What are your opinions on it? Let me know in the comments down below. And then boycott Walmart. Company distances itself from this heiress, Christy Walton, after anti-presidential ad. She doesn't even live in us. Oh, I'm sorry. Doesn't even live in U.S. I'm absolutely the stupidest person on earth right now. Again, they're talking about boycotting, Walmart. And they're saying, she doesn't even live here. I've actually known a lot of people that work for Costco, Boeing, all of these local companies, a lot of the places that really got a lot of roots here in Washington. I even knew somebody that was high up in Costco. And their personal opinions of this Christy Walton, they basically said that this lady is a little bit loopy. But at the same time, when you have something like this where they're encouraging people to go out on the 14th, on the same day that essentially the president is putting this as a celebration of America, what does that tell you? I mean, it is pretty telling. And then the president says that China will face 55% tariffs as he endorses this trade deal. Now, when you look at this, again, the 145% tariffs, of course, they consider those embargoes. Is this going to be, a positive thing? Are we going to get away from this? Well, the big companies don't think so. I told you guys that they are announcing it. Multiple big companies that manufacture things, they're saying, hey, by the end of the year, we're going to have 70% of our manufacturing out of China and into somewhere else, whether that be in India or somewhere else. That tells me that they got a memo. They know that this is, no matter what they negotiate, they're still already concretely saying we're going to move things out of China. It's pretty obvious why. Even if we don't get into a war with China this week, even if those aircraft carriers that have never crossed the island defense line, even if those are secretly part of a much, much bigger group with Bailey Bridge, carrying long-haul ships that are going to drop tanks on the, L.A. beaches, even if that happened, again, this is something where you have, even if all of this is not happening, in the next year and a half, it will. You have to look at the window that China knows it has. If China is ever going to be the number one, and if you understand how important it is for their culture to be number one, then you understand they only have a very limited time to actually take power and take the kind of power they want. We will not need cheap human labor in the near future. We will have robots that will do all the jobs that we don't want to do. They say, oh, well, they do the jobs that robots can't do and that, the people don't want to do either, right? Well, in the future, that's not going to exist. Even on the smallest kind of technology, tiny screws that we don't want to sit around for 12 hours a day for peanuts doing, there will be robots to do that. So think about China's future. That is why China is loaning money to everybody. That's why China is turning into the Belt and Road Initiative loan shark. Because they are playing out a plan, a massive plan that was so obvious. Look at South Korea and North Korea. Look at the impeachment of the last president who declared martial law. Look at that. and really put that into context with all of the other stuff that's going on right now, the stuff that went over with 4 years in the U.S., that people really, really had some questions about why our president then was turning a blind eye to things. Why mainstream media, the same mainstream medias, in fact, a lot of them that were secretly getting paid by agencies that were essentially from, funds from the U.S., those same places were turning a blind eye or even complimenting China. It sounds very, very strange. Dex, this is, they're doing the 55%. The 55% tariff total appears to be a hike from the 30% rate agreed in the truce. So what do you think is going to happen?
It doesn't matter. This is the deal. So this was negotiated between China and the U.S. So according to Trump and according to the call he had, it's pending the final approval and sign off from Xi and him, but this is the new China deal. The deal is 55 to them, or to us from them, and 10% from us back to them. So it also includes the full magnets, as he calls them, and necessary rare earths are going to be supplied up front, which it's already been noted today that the orders have been approved and shipments on rare earths are now moving again. I think just a few days ago, they approved them for all 3 of the major automakers. So this is the deal, according to the White House. And it's sort of a done deal minus the final sign-off, final approval. So it will generate a significant amount of revenue for us. It's obviously not at that 145%, which was more of like an embargo. It's now at 55. He does say that does reflect the 10% baseline, the 20% for the Fenny trafficking, and the 25% pre-existing. So that's how they get to that price point.
And the Fenny trafficking, by the way, I mean, like, it's like, they know exactly what is happening there, what the everything about this. It looks like this is a long game to cripple the U.S., to take a freaking, a baton to the kneecap of it, and then hit another kneecap, and they're like, "Oh, he's still walking. Let's hit a toe or two. Oh, what? He's getting up. Let's get him right in the ribs. Oh, let's get him in the shoulder. Oh, there's still bones there. Oh, let's crack those too." That's what it seems to me. You look over the last couple of years of all of the suspicious events that have happened, all of the things that went down with CV, with all of that, including some of the stuff that is happening right now. They were talking about the Nimbus thing, right? The new strain that's gone. To me, something just does not sit right about this entire year. Everything needs to be put into question. What's going on? Jordan Brock, Lizard Hunter, Sky Star. We have, of course, Bobby Sue in the chat. We've got Billy Jack's Wild America. Mexico also has Russian tanks in Mex, says Billy Jack's Wild America. I've heard a lot of things about Chinese tanks there and Russian tanks. Send sources, because even if that was ever true, I would highly, highly believe it in the next year and a half. I mean, I could see that happening, especially when they're building mysterious bridges in the Darien Gap that are wide enough to take a column of tanks, and way stronger than what they need for a people crossing. And then Taija NZ, what is going on? Solar Prepper off grid. It says a bunch of cargo ships are coming in from China. Soon they could use that as an invasion. Look up K-Club weapons, man. That they could turn every one of those container ships into a massive weapons arsenal. Heck, Ukraine just did in 3 different time zones and hit Russia very hard. Before we move on, make sure to go check out Jace as far as any kind of event that may happen, whether it be an earthquake, it may be a fire. It could be something like what happened in Paradise or in North Carolina or Hawaii. If you don't have antibiotics on hand, you might want to think about it, because 90% of antibiotics are made in China. If you're following all of this stuff like us, we're not telling you what to believe. We're showing you patterns. And if you watch over the years, I think most people would just come to that conclusion and go, wow, that's weird. They're saying that this is not happening, yet they're saying that this is happening. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace. It's an easy service from your phone, tablet, or computer. From the comfort of your couch, you can get this kit sent right to your door. There's an add-on list with all sorts of very, very useful and necessary things depending on who's in your family. You got an asthmatic in the family? Say, hey, doc, I'll need albuterol HFA in there too. Go to marfugglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use the code MARF. It will help save us, independent media. It will help save you money, and it will help you prepare yourself. And get this. So on top of the rocket launch that is mysteriously launched on the 14th, on top of the birthday, on top of the military parade, on top of the protests, guess what is adjourning? Is it adjourning or starting? Is this adjourning or starting? I believe it's adjourning.
Today and adjourning on the 14th.
The Bilderberg conference is ending on the 14th. No one finds this weird how many things are lining up for this day. And I'm not saying that this day is the end of the world. I'm not saying that we're going to be invaded. Most people in this community know when we put something out like that, you need to have your eyes peeled, head on a swivel, and be ready for anything. And if you look at how every country in the world has specialists or SEALs or Green Berets or, again, any kind of, very, very efficient thing, they prepare for things that are possibilities and probabilities. When you see what they're preparing for right now, when you see their actions, you can see the gravity of an event that they haven't told us what the actual event is, but we can see all of the other planets around it getting sucked in. All of the planetesimals are just getting right into it. You can see the planetesimal, but you can't see the actual event. I think it is very simple to see what is happening right here. I think there's some major, major, major events that are coming. There is a war and neighbors taking neighbors, and they are going to try to supersede the U.S. They are going to try to cut us out of it. And I believe that they are going to do this by cutting internet, cutting phone, cutting, of course, electricity, cutting underwater cables, and cutting satellite and GPS. This would be a very quick way to put our entire country in chaos. Dex, let's talk about South Korea turns off speakers blasting K-pop.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at. We just talked about the president there, and his alignment, the new one they just put in power, and his alignment with North Korea, and now we see a perfect action of that, where he comes out and says that he's going to turn off the sound system that they've been blasting in. So, we on one hand you've had this, strong offensive against one another, and now you've got the former president accusing the infiltration of the government from both China and supporters of North Korea taking over, and then he gets ousted, and now the one who comes into power is turning around and doing specific actions and certain things for to support North Korea. What does that tell you? I mean, it's just it's very eye-opening, to say the least.
Can I ask, for those of you that have watched almost every day, do you guys, did it really dawn on you, all of this North Korea, South Korea, the martial law situation from day one, how we all talked about it, we said this is, all of these things that have lined up since. Do you believe, where are you on the spectrum of, do you believe that he was declaring that martial law for good reason? Do you believe that he was saying that communist China was infiltrating their country, that they were trying to screw with their government systems, and then he declared martial law, and then he got impeached right away, not only on the day that the court said he's impeached, when they officially made it like, hey, this guy can't come back and get us, 1,500 troops spotted on the border of South Korea. 1,500 North Korean troops spotted. Within a few more days after that, you have the new president saying, I promise we are going to restore all the ties between us and North Korea. We're not just talking about like them hugging and kissing and making up. We're talking about North Korea, a puppet of China and a puppet of whoever else, essentially having help from other nations to try to quell whatever's going on between them. They are still technically at war. They have a demilitarized zone, but they never ended their war. The Korean War, mind you, that went both ways. Dex, that map YouTube channel that goes throughout official history and does those like time lapses, that was really, really awesome to see, because it showed that it was like South Korea was taking most of North Korea, then Russia and them get in and they pushed it back down. Then you have the U.S. and everybody pushed back up, and it was like they were fighting, and then they ended up about halfway, and they didn't end the war. They just said, let's put it on kind of an indefinite pause. Well, I don't think that that's going to happen for much longer. I think there was a purpose that they blew up all of the train tracks between their countries. I think that, this happened right before that they, blew up all of the roads and things leading from South Korea into North Korea. They blew up all of the, unite, all of the symbols of uniting the two countries. I mean, this to me is one big thing that you could show your friends and family, and if you showed them in the right order, anybody else would come to the same conclusion. That if China's doing it here and doing it in this kind of way, you don't think they did it to us? You don't think they did it to the other countries? You don't think they're doing it to the Belt and Road countries? Sorry, I don't see any other way. And then a squadron of Israeli jets has taken off from Nevatim. If you don't know, everybody's on pins and needles right now, because there was intelligence that, of course, Israel was going to strike a massive strike and take out all of the nuclear facilities and specific nuclear sites in Iran. Iran is not happy about this. They have made plenty of comments about this, right? Well, of course, people were up in arms. They said, no, this can't happen. They changed their stance in Israel. Netanyahu says, you know what? We're going to listen to the president. We will only attack if the president tells us that the negotiations are not going anywhere. And where are they going? Nowhere. They were on their 6th round of talks. I don't know if this is their 6th or if this is technically their 7th on Thursday. But something massive is happening right on. They're all stalling. And they're getting ready for something. Meanwhile, the same time that we're talking about these protests in LA, one of those states that basically people go, okay, this is weird. Do you remember when Gavin Newsom, one of the only people to actually go and have personal dinner with Xi Jinping, he went there to look at renewable and battery tech and all of this and do a tour, and he did these photo ops. Isn't it kind of weird? He went there, and then you have all of these kind of side things going on, and this is it's getting absolutely crazy. And then the same state that most of the ports have proprietary software that could just shut down our ports, the same state that had the ATF accidentally leak all sorts of information. Basically, every weapon owner in California had to, with the gun stored and with this, had to list, like, we have 2 weapons and they're at this address. We have 5 weapons and we're at this address. That information leaked, and we know that China got all of that information. Then we see the potential for them having drones come over. Say they make it 6,000 miles with their big ships. Well, then they send their long-range drones after that. Possibly even carrier drones, these big cargo ship size Hercules planes that will release even more drones out of the side of them. Why this is important is those drones would use AI and autonomous targeting to target every last place that has a weapon in it. I have heard in the last 24 hours tons of comments, and we hear this all the time. Nobody can take over the U.S. There's like 3 weapons for every person here. There are so many weapons here, it would be absolute hell on earth to take over. Well, guess what? You don't take it over. You let the country do the work for itself. Once you take out food, once you take out water, you know who's taking the lives of the people down the street? The pastor up the street. He's trying to feed his kids. On day 5, 6, 7, 11, all of a sudden you've got one of the nicest pastors you've ever met doing some of the most sinful and unregrettable, super regrettable things to feed his family. That's why, again, we hope you guys are listening. I hope that people are really watching this, because why is all of this coming together? Why is everything we've been saying for years? This isn't a I told you so. This is like a we're freaking out because all of it's coming true. We've been calling this out step by step, and it's happening. If you haven't already, go get yourself food. First thing, you should have water, food, and medicine. And then after that, get protection like EMP and stuff like that. But again, we do have a recommendation. Go to My Patriot Supply. It is one of the most affordable ways to get freeze-dried food that will last 25 plus years. Again, you get a package from them, a 3-month package. You're going to spend less if you wanted to just eat this straight out and cook all of these meals for 3 months. It's at the point with without the discount that you could probably spend less eating this than going to the grocery store with how much freaking inflation. With the discount, you're saving a ton of money. And you're helping independent news. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, you go and look for yourself. Highly, highly recommend that you have food, water, medicine, plans. You should have, of course, extra plans too. You should have, your city mapped out. What if you're at work 20 miles away from your home? For Cascadia, the city is actually telling people to plan to walk 10 miles, to walk 15 miles. They're even planning, other states like Arizona is preparing their government to take people walking from California into their state. If you don't believe me, go look it up. 21 states are preparing for Cascadia subduction zone. That could be applied for the same thing. If we lose power, a huge grid event, and we know it, you're going to have very limited time to plan once it all goes down. One thing we do know from prior emergencies is that almost every time, the majority of us are not happy with the response. From the 5 days to get water to the Superdome, which is just crazy. Think about the bureaucratic stupidity that it took when there were all of these people that wanted to volunteer to bring water that could have easily used their own planes to fly in, drop it, whatever. 5 days to get water to the Superdome. Memorial Hospital, people were left for perished. And I mean, we're talking literally. All the people that couldn't be moved and whatever else, they just had to put them to sleep. Kevorkian style. Look at Hawaii, look at Paradise, look at all these places. Do you trust them to take care of you when this all goes down? Are you going to go line up at a truck like in Matt, whatever his name is, movie, and say, oh, I get my ration of food today? Are you going to depend on that? I'm not. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a minor correction to make. That that burger meeting is June 12th to the 15th in Stockholm. So it didn't start today on the 11th. It starts tomorrow. Well, depending on what time zone you're in at the moment. That's the 12th through the 15th in Stockholm.
So are they a day ahead? So it's going to be the 14th in our time, but 15th in their time.
Yeah. It's already the 12th there now, but yeah. But basically, that's the date. I said 11th through the 14th. I had the wrong year on that, but the 2025 one, according to the list, says June 12th through the 15th in Stockholm, Sweden, according to Wikipedia.
Great comment by Grey Guy. Says, where are we going to bug out to? A Walmart parking lot? That's something that you are really, really going to have to think about, because I've even covered stuff like, where are you going to bug out to the forest, right? They have satellite technology that if a leaf moves in the forest, the AI can essentially alert it and even go look at it and go, oh yeah, that's not a human, that's a monkey, right? Or that's a giraffe, that's a deer. And the AI can also look at it and automatically ping you if a human moves in any area. It can list it and even alphabetize it, So where to bug out, I don't know. These are things that you really can't do until it happens. But you can plan for some basic contingencies. I think a lot of people are going to leave the big cities. The big cities are going to be some of the worst. The highly populated area. If you live downtown Seattle, there's people saying that they're going to bug in. There's people that are in New York that are going to bug in their apartments. I don't think that's a smart idea, but that's just my personal opinion. I would get the hell away from a ton of people. Heck, I would find any way possible to get a boat and maybe go to a small, low-populated island or something. And, protect yourself. I know what low population and small island I'll be going to. If it's not an earthquake-related thing, if it's like a takeover kind of thing, we have at least 3 spots that we're planning, and that might also fail. In Red Dawn, it kind of shows this unrealistic thing where these kids just all got away and they just kept hurting the invading forces time and time again. It's like, that's not what it's going to be like now with the technology they have now. I mean, China just, a huge story came out that they have essentially taken the stealth out of our F-22s. Not because with their satellites they can spot our F-22s. They have an exact signature of their exhaust. So when they see this exhaust, they know when this exhaust is going across the sky, that in front of that exhaust, which they can't see anything, they know that that is an F-22. Think about some of the breakthroughs they say or claim that they've done in the last couple years, and then you realize this is all geared towards a massive war with the U.S., and the U.S. is responding accordingly. We just sent a 4th destroyer down to support border missions. We have battalions. We have all sorts of equipment there. We have artillery. We have all sorts of crap down at the southern border. So what is going to happen? Let me know in the comments down below, and I highly, highly recommend go over and check out all of our mods. They are always keeping the chat peaceful, but more than that, they are always creating. So go over to marfooglenews.com/friends, and you'll find everyone from Bones, Chance, Jammer, all of your favorites in the chat, Ilea, Trinity, Red or Blue Pill, Hi-Ho, Hermit the Frog here, Wages World, Rip Curl, Readiness, and of course Lisa Hall, longest running mod. You'll find all of them over at marfooglenews.com. If you're watching this, later on, again, make sure to go to the website. You have a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. We've got just a huge amount of stuff that is lining up right now. I hope that people have paid attention, and I hope your friends and family listen to you. So again, I hope that all of you go over to the website, go through our archive news, and go check it out for yourself. I think you're going to be, again, going through a lot before you come to the same kind of opinions as us. But I really hope that people take the time to, because once you do, it's really hard. Once you've woken up to this alarm clock, it is something that you can never press snooze to. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And you also have the MFN tips line. If you have a top secret tip, anonymous tip, you don't want, you just want to give this information out, go again to marfooglenews.com. You don't need, you can make up a Proton mail. You only need a screen name. You can make up a screen name and then give us your hot tip. You just have to do a CAPTCHA proving you're not an AI. But that's it. You click a box, you say, I'm not a robot, okay? And we will do our best ability. If it is something that we can verify, we will put it out there. Or if it's a story, we'll try to tell it. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank your mods by dropping an M in the chat. I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you so much, Nathaniel Williams. It looks like you are a top supporter tonight. Tony Two Crow and Larry Gatlin. Thank you for your support tonight. We appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow. We're going to be following this, and if there's any breaking news, make sure to hit the notification bell to all, because it could be at 3 in the morning. If something goes down, I will do a live stream on it. If there is a physical event that I attend, I will be going live at that event. You want to get that notification. Go to marfooglenews.com. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Thank Nathaniel Williams. You are top supporter tonight. Again, thank you guys. It is now time to go. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.